Today, we're talking about the mums of the 21 Formula One drivers of 2020. It's been a little bit harder to find information on the mums than it was on the dads, because I did my Dads of F1 video about a month or so ago now, which has done very well. Obviously, there's a fair amount of interest in the parents of these fine young men that race around the track at crazy speeds. So in a moment, I'll introduce you to all of the F1 mums. When I did the F1 Dads video, I found that there were a number of high-profile fathers, obviously racers like Jos Verstappen and Carlos Sainz Sr., but none of the mums have been terribly high-profile in whatever field they're in. So it's resulted in a fair bit of digging to uncover much of the information that I'll go through with you today, with the compliments of Kennedycom. So let's start off with Max Verstappen's mum, Sophie Kumpen. Now, she's the only mum with a racing background. With the dads, we had lots of racing backgrounds. She won a karting competition and she's raced alongside the likes of F1 drivers Giancarlo Fisichella and Jarno Trulli. She's a mother of two, obviously, to Max and Max's sister, Victoria, who works with Max promoting his range of merchandise. Sophie's also on Twitter. I think she's the only one that I've found easily on social media. And she divorced Jos back in 2017. Next up is Grace Ricciardo, mother of two, one of them being Daniel Ricciardo, Max Verstappen's ex-partner at Red Bull. Grace is a lovely woman. She works with her fine husband Joe at Ricciardo Earth Moving in Western Australia, 15 kilometres probably away from where I'm recording this very video today. She was a big hit on Drive to Survive. If you haven't seen the Netflix series, what are you doing? You need to go out there and have a look. It is brilliant. And you'll find there were a number of interviews with Grace and Joe. I love Grace. She's a great cook. She's a great woman, fun to be around. And here's something you may not know. She was linked with the finding of the oldest message in a bottle. It happened going back in 2018. She was on the beach actually with my wife, Tonya, and Tonya bent over, picked this bottle up. Turns out it was thrown overboard from a boat 132 years ago. And Grace and Joe were with us that day. George Russell's mum, Alison, married to Steve. They have 3 children. The thing I like about this story is that when George first found out that he got the gig with Williams, he said he told his mum and she swore. Alison's a former hairdresser. I've only seen her once, and that was at Abu Dhabi last year at post-season testing. I initially thought that Alison was Nicholas Latifi's mum because I saw her have a quick chat with Nicholas before he went out to drive for his first session at Abu Dhabi that year. I went up to him and had a chat and I said, "Oh, are you Nicholas' parents?" He says, "No, we're actually George's parents." So there you go. That's Alison Russell. Next up, Charles Leclerc's mum, Pascal. I've seen Pascal at a number of races. She has 3 fine young boys, married to Hervé, obviously, and he passed away in 2017. So she's been raising the boys and doing a fine job. She pops along to a couple of races. She has the same first name as Pierre Gasly's mum. She too is a wonderful woman, married to Jean-Jacques, who's a bit of a character. You might have read recently that she and her husband had their home broken into and a lot of Pierre's trophies and valuables were stolen. They live in Rouen in France. But great people who underwent a lot of sacrifices in the early years of Pierre's career, but now they're getting paid back by the fact that they're watching their son race at the very pinnacle of motorsport. Lewis Hamilton's mum is Carmen Le Balastier. I've only seen her at the track once, and it was back in 2017, and it was on the day that Lewis won his 4th title. And they did the group photo at the front of the garage, and Lewis was very keen to get mum out the front and share the spotlight with him. Carmen was married to Anthony Hamilton, but the pair separated when Lewis was 2 years old, and Lewis went to live with Carmen and his half-sisters until he was 12 years old, and then he moved back with his dad. Allow me to introduce you to Ska Norris, mother of 4 fine young children, including 1 McLaren driver in Lando Norris. She's from Flanders in Belgium. Beautiful woman to talk to, great fun, really relaxed. I love her colourful glasses. I photographed Siska at the track on a number of occasions, including in Britain, where she brought her whole family, Adam, husband, Siska, daughter, Flo, daughter, and Ollie, son, along with Lando, obviously, to take part in some filming for Netflix's Drive to Survive, which I photographed having lunch in the McLaren motorhome, but I never ever saw it go to air. So obviously it got the chop. Not exciting enough. That's Ska Norris, Lando's mum. Next up, Alex Albon's mother, Kankamol, also known as Minky. She was raised in Thailand. She moved to Britain as a teenager. She was a bookkeeper in 1993, married Nigel, a former racing driver. He was featured in my Dads of F1 Drivers video going back a month or so ago, which you can go and have a look at. The description will have a link to that particular video in it. She has 3 daughters, 2 sons. I've only ever seen Chloe at the track, apart from Alex, obviously, and going back in 2012, she was convicted of fraud. Have you met Nico Hulkenbergs' mum, Suzanne? This is Suzanne. She's married to a most delightful man in Dieter. I've had a little bit to do with Dieter and caught up with him. When was it? In Brazil last year. We had a little bit of a chat. Just beautiful people. No wonder they've got such a fine son. Only ever seen Suzanne, I think, at one race, and that was Hockenheim last year, which looked like being a great day for Nico until, of course, he had that terrible off late in the race when he looked like he could be, if not on the podium, certainly near it. And if you're in business and would like to sharpen up your staff's skills, head to Kennedycom, the world's best online staff training platform. Hundreds of short, sharp training videos covering everything from how not to embarrass yourself on a video conference through to handling angry customers. Kennedycom. On to Roman Grosjean's mother. I've never met her. I've never seen her at the track. I do happen to know that Marie-Helene Brandt is a Swiss painter born in Geneva, has 2 children. But look at her artwork. It's quite magnificent. You can go online here and purchase it if you wish. Heike Vettel met Norbert Vettel and some years ago had 4 Vettels, including one Sebastian, the 3rd or the 4th, who races for Ferrari. They live in Heppenheim, near Hockenheim, and I've never, ever seen Heike at the track. In fact, this is one of very few photos available on the net. Next up, Carlos Sainz's mother. Now, I've never met Carlos's mother. I'm going to even struggle, I think, to pronounce her name. It is Reyes Vasquez de Castro. Here's a picture of her. Here's another one of her. And that's about all I can tell you. Antonio Giovinazzi's mum is Anna. She looks like this. And according to Antonio, she is a great cook. Well, she's Italian. She's going to be, isn't she? The first time I saw Claire Stroll, Lance's mum and Lawrence's wife, was in Mexico in 2017. And it was because Lance was having a birthday. His whole family, including sister Chloe, were there to celebrate that particular milestone. And this is photographic proof of that. Next up is Kevin Magnussen and his mother, Britt Pedersen. Don't know much about her, except this is a picture of her with her son. And I know even less about Daniil Kvyat's mother, Zulfaya, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. I can tell you a little bit about this man's mother, Paula Räikkönen. She has 2 children, Kimi and Rami, and 4 grandchildren. She openly admits that Kimi is a stubborn competitor and said in an interview late last year that she thought this year, 2020, would be Kimi's last. And we're still waiting to find out at, what day are we today? The 5th of October 2020, to find out whether or not Kimi is, in fact, going to extend his career or call it quits at the end of this year. Esteban Ocon's mother is Sabrina Ocon, and Sabrina and her husband made some serious sacrifices early on in Esteban's career to make sure he got the support he needed to get him to the top level of motorsport, where he is today. Just a few mums left to go, and mums I've never met, but I can tell you Sergio Perez's mum is Marie-Lou Perez. Nicholas Latifi's mum is Marilena, and she and her husband do a tremendous amount of charity work in their home country of Canada. And last but not least, Valtteri Bottas's mum, Marianne. And that, my friends, is the 21 F1 drivers' mothers. I hope you've learned a thing or two today. If you've liked the video, I will ask you to press the like button and the subscribe button if you haven't done it. And if you want advanced notifications of every video I put up, the bell button is the way to get it. You can go to kimillman.com where you can pick up one of 21 different F1 driver books. You can also buy canvas prints, so you can see my blogs and podcasts there, the whole box and dice. You can own my digital images by heading to prostarpics.com. And for my best pics and the stories behind them all through the week, head to Instagram at Kim Illman. Hey, thanks for watching. Stay passionate. Next door is the fire station. These fire trucks come backwards and forwards in here, making